Topic: Introduction to personality. Subtopics: First, meaning of personality. Second, determinants of personality. Third, dimensions of personality. Meaning of personality. Personality, a characteristic way of thinking, feeling, and behaving. Personality embraces moods, attitudes, and opinions and is most clearly expressed in interactions with other people. It includes behavioral characteristics, both inherent and acquired, that distinguish one person from another and that can be observed in people's relations to the environment and to the social group. Almost every day we describe and assess the personalities of the people around us. She has such a great personality, you might say about a friend. He gets his personality from his dad, you might say about your rambunctious son. While we spend a lot of time talking about personality, many people are not quite sure exactly how and what personality psychology is really all about. Whether we realize it or not, these daily musings on how and why people behave as they do are similar to what personality psychologists do. While our informal assessments of personality tend to focus more on individuals, personality psychologists instead use conceptions of personality that can apply to everyone. Personality research has led to the development of a number of theories that help explain how and why certain personality traits develop. While there are many theories of personality, the first step is to understand exactly what is meant by the term personality. The word personality itself stems from the Latin word persona, which referred to a theatrical mask worn by performers in order to either project different roles or disguise their identities. A brief definition is that personality is made up of the characteristic patterns of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that make a person unique. In addition to this, personality arises from within the individual and remains fairly consistent throughout life. How would you define personality? The following are just a few of the definitions that have been put forth by some different psychologists. Personality refers to individuals' characteristic patterns of thought, emotion, and behavior, together with the psychological mechanisms, hidden or not, behind those patterns. Funder, 2001. Although no single definition is acceptable to all personality theorists, we can say that personality is a pattern of relatively permanent traits and unique characteristics that give both consistency and individuality to a person's behavior. Feist and Feist, 2009. While there are many different definitions of personality, most focus on the pattern of behaviors and characteristics that can help predict and explain a person's behavior. Explanations for personality can focus on a variety of influences, ranging from genetic explanations for personality traits to the role of the environment and experience in shaping an individual's personality. Environmental factors that can play a role in the development and expression of personality include such things as parenting and culture. How children are raised can depend on the individual personalities and parenting styles of caregivers, as well as the norms and expectations of different cultures. Components. So what exactly makes up a personality? As described in the definitions above, you would expect that traits and patterns of thought and emotion play important roles. Some of the other fundamental characteristics of personality include: 1. Consistency. There is generally a recognizable order and regularity to behaviors. Essentially, people act in the same ways or similar ways in a variety of situations. 2. Psychological and physiological. Personality is a psychological construct, but research suggests that it is also influenced by biological processes and needs. 3. It impacts behaviors and actions. Personality does not just influence how we move and respond in our environment. It also causes us to act in certain ways. 4. Multiple expressions. Personality is displayed in more than just behavior. It can also be seen in our thoughts, feelings, close relationships, and other social interactions. Major determinants of personality. What determines personality? Of all the complexities and unanswered questions in the study of human behavior, this question may be the most difficult. People are enormously complex, their abilities and interests and attitudes are diverse. An early argument in personality research was whether an individual's personality was the result of heredity or environment. Was the personality predetermined at birth? Or was it the result of the individual's interaction with his or her environment? Personality appears to be a result of both influences. Additionally, today we recognize another factor, the situation. The problem lies in the fact the cognitive and psychological processes, plus many other variables, all contribute to personality. The determinants of personality can perhaps best be grouped in 5 broad categories: biological, cultural, family, social, and situational. Biological determinants of personality development. 1. Heredity. Heredity refers to those factors that were determined at conception. Physical stature, facial attractiveness, sex, temperament, muscle composition and reflexes, energy level, and biological rhythms are characteristics that are considered to be inherent from one's parents. The heredity approach argues that the ultimate explanation of an individual's personality is the molecular structure of the genes located in the chromosomes. Research on animals has showed that both physical and psychological characteristics can be transmitted through heredity. But research on human beings is inadequate to support this viewpoint. However, psychologists and geneticists have accepted the fact that heredity plays an important role in one's personality. 2. Brain. The second biological approach is to concentrate on the role that the brain plays in personality. Though researchers make some promising inroads, the psychologists are unable to prove empirically the contribution of human brain in influencing personality. The most recent and exciting possibilities come from the work done with electrical stimulation of the brain (ESB) and split brain psychology. Preliminary results from the electrical stimulation of the brain (ESB) research give indication that better understanding of human personality and behavior might come from the study of the brain. Work with ESB on human subjects is just beginning. There seem to be definite pleasurable and painful areas in the human brain. This being true, it may be possible physically to manipulate personality through ESB. 3. Biofeedback. Until recently, physiologists and psychologists felt that certain biological functions such as brainwave patterns, gastric secretions, and fluctuations in blood pressure and skin temperature were beyond conscious control. Now some scientists believe that these involuntary functions can be consciously controlled through biofeedback. In BFT, the individual learns the internal rhythm of a particular body process through electronic signals, feedback from equipment that is wired to the body area. From this biofeedback, the person can learn to control the body process in question. More research is needed on biofeedback before any definitive conclusions can be drawn. But its potential impact could be extremely interesting for the future. 4. Physical features. A vital ingredient of the personality, an individual's external appearance, is biologically determined. The fact that a person is tall or short, fat or skinny, black or white will influence the person's effect on others, and this in turn will affect the self-concept. Practically all would agree that physical characteristics have at least some influence on the personality. According to Paul H. Musson, a child's physical characteristics may be related to his approach to the social environment, to the expectancies of others, and to their reactions to him. These, in turn, may have impacts on personality development. Personality determinants in organizational behavior. If personality characteristics were completely dictated by heredity, they would be fixed at birth and no amount of experience could alter them. But personality characteristics are not completely dictated by heredity. There are other factors which also influence personality. First, cultural factors. Among the factors that exert pressures on our personality formation are the culture in which we are raised, our early conditioning, the norms among our family, friends and social groups, and other influences we experience. Traditionally, cultural factors are usually considered to make a more significant contribution to personality than biological factors. The culture largely determines attributes toward independence, aggression, competition, and cooperation. According to Paul H. Musson, each culture expects, and trains, its members to behave in the ways that are acceptable to the group. To a marked degree, the child's cultural group defines the range of experiences and situations he is likely to encounter and the values and personality characteristics that will be reinforced and hence learned. Culture requires both conformity and acceptance from its members. There are several ways of ensuring that members comply with the dictates of the culture. The personality of an individual to a marked extent is determined by the culture in which he or she is brought up. It follows that a person reared in a Western culture has a different personality from a person reared in our Indian culture. Second, family factors. Whereas the culture generally prescribes and limits what a person can be taught, it is the family, and later the social group, which selects, interprets and dispenses the culture. Thus, the family probably has the most significant impact on early personality development. A substantial amount of empirical evidence indicates that the overall home environment created by the parents, in addition to their direct influence, is critical to personality development. For example, children reared in a cold, unstimulating home are much more likely to be socially and emotionally maladjusted than children raised by parents in a warm, loving and stimulating environment. The parents play an especially important part in the identification process, which is important to the person's early development. According to Mischel, the process can be examined from 3 different perspectives. Identification can be viewed as the similarity of behavior, including feelings and attitudes, between child and model. Identification can be looked at as the child's motives or desires to be like the model. It can be viewed as the process through which the child actually takes on the attributes of the model. From all 3 perspectives, the identification process is fundamental to the understanding of personality development. The home environment also influences the personality of an individual. Siblings, brothers and sisters, also contribute to personality. Third, social factors. There is increasing recognition given to the role of other relevant persons, groups, and especially organizations, which greatly influence an individual's personality. This is commonly called the socialization process. Socialization involves the process by which a person acquires, from the enormously wide range of behavioral potentialities that are open to him or her. Socialization starts with the initial contact between a mother and her new infant. After infancy, other members of the immediate family, father, brothers, sisters, and close relatives or friends, then the social group, peers, school friends, and members of the work group play influential roles. Socialization process is especially relevant to organizational behavior because the process is not confined to early childhood, taking place rather throughout one's life. In particular, Evidence is accumulating that socialization may be one of the best explanations for why employees behave the way they do in today's organizations. Fourth, situational factors. Human personality is also influenced by situational factors. The effect of environment is quite strong. Knowledge, skill and language are obviously acquired and represent important modifications of behavior. An individual's personality, while generally stable and consistent, does change in different situations. The different demands of different situations call forth different aspects of one's personality. According to Milgram, situation exerts an important press on the individual. It exercises constraints and may provide push. In certain circumstances, it is not so much the kind of person a man is as the kind of situation in which he is placed that determines his actions. We should therefore not look at personality patterns in isolation. Dimensions of personality. The composition of human personality is the subject of innumerable theories. Each focuses on one or several particular aspects or dimensions of personality, but none appear to consider it in its full scope, depth, and integrity. Some theories focus more on differences in type, others on the relative development of specific characteristics and competencies, and still others on the dynamics of interaction between several psychological constructs such as Freud's ego, superego and id. A typological approach to categorize personalities fails to take into account wide variations in intensity that would adequately distinguish a Napoleon from a dominant local leader. Behavioral descriptions do not adequately distinguish between external expressions of personality and the inner motivation. In an effort towards scientific objectivity and impartiality, most theories omit assigning values to differences in personal orientation to other people and the world around, yet the distinction between a good kind, generous person who relates positively to everyone and one who is jealous, mean or evil motive cannot be merely dismissed as a difference in type. A comprehensive theory of personality would need to account for and integrate all these dimensions, typal differences, varying levels of development and dynamics. A first step in evolution of such a theory would be to clearly identify the structural dimensions on which personalities differ. Human personalities can be examined and differentiated on 6 core dimensions. First, energy. Second, direction, positive, negative attitudes. Third, values. Fourth, depth, manners, behavior, character, personality, individuality. Fifth, consciousness, physical, vital, mental development. Sixth, strength. First, energy. This is a subjective measure of the strength or intensity of personality which is very tangible to observation and experience, but extremely difficult to define and measure. Great personalities in politics, business, and even in the arts are almost invariably described as high-energy people. Personality theory needs to identify the source and determinants of that energy. It needs to distinguish between qualitative differences in the type of energy observed, such as the difference between a Napoleon and Mahatma Gandhi. It needs also to account for varying intensities of energy at the mental, vital, and physical levels of the being, which is discussed below. Second, direction. This refers to whether the person's attitudes, motives, intentions, and actions are positively or negatively related to the welfare and well-being of other individuals and society. In common parlance, whether the person is good or bad. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Moriarty are both depicted as well-formed, high-energy, mental characters. Yet they dedicate their lives and direct their energies in diametrically opposite directions. Goodwill is an expression of positive direction. Third, values. This refers quite literally to what is most important or valuable to a person. If direction is a horizontal measure of good versus bad, values are a vertical measure of higher versus lower. Selflessness is high. Selfishness as a central motivating force is low. This vertical dimension expresses at all three levels of consciousness. Thus, idealism, honesty, integrity, self-respect, self-reliance and self-giving are high mental values. Loyalty, courage and generosity are high vital values. Cleanliness, punctuality and efficiency are high physical values. For a fuller discussion and illustration of personal values, see values and personal values. Fourth, depth. Human personality can be viewed as an onion skin of many layers from surface behavior to inner depths, including manners, behavior, character, personality, individuality. Depth refers to the degree to which these deeper layers are formed in the person. 1. Manners. Superficial, external forms of formalized response, a subset of social or interpersonal skills. 2. Behavior, the capacity of a person for directed activities based on conscious understanding and intensity. 3. Character, the fixed attributes reflecting values that have become fully organized, internalized, fixed, and subconscious. 4. Personality, the capacity for expansive or creative initiative that transcend the limitations imposed by character, society, or personal experience. 5. Individuality, a center of uniqueness, quite independent of social conditioning, personal experience, and character. We have referred elsewhere to several stages in the formation of personality under the terms manners, behavior, character, personality, individuality. There are people such as Lydia Bennet and Mrs. Bennet in Pride and Prejudice who have not yet developed the self-control and maturity needed even for reasonably good manners and are very unlikely to do so, regardless of their upbringing. Their very nerves are not yet capable of that discipline. Others acquire perfect external manners, such as the teachers and students in Mona Lisa Smile. But how they behave outwardly does not really reflect how they think and feel inside. Still others, such as Jane Bennet in Pride and Prejudice, have achieved a level in which their inner feelings are fully in accordance with their external manners. They truly mean and feel what they say. But the form of their personalities is largely determined by the social norms and standards of the society in which they were raised. Still others have a formed character that is capable of higher accomplishment, such as Darcy in Pride and Prejudice. Then there are a few at the level of personality and true individuality who have developed to the point where they can transcend the limitations imposed by society and their own upbringing. Mikhail Gorbachev exhibited real personality in undermining the monopoly on power of the political party and government which he headed. Fifth, consciousness. This refers to the relative development and predominance of the physical, vital and mental parts or levels of consciousness. Physical consciousness related to the body, physical needs and material things, which is fixed, inflexible and gives credence only to the here and now. Vital consciousness related to the nervous and emotional, the centers of energy, sensations, feelings, desires and urges. Mental consciousness related to the ideas and ideals, the capacity for thinking, analysis, understanding, organization and planned initiative. Sixth, strength. This factor is difficult to describe or measure, but differences in the size and intensity of personality can be readily perceived in some instances, especially when one is in the presence of a towering personality such as a Napoleon, a Goethe, a Churchill or a Gandhi. Every individual have their own characteristic level of intensity which is distinct from the vital or mental energy that they express and may best be represented by their overall capacity to change or influence the people with whom they relate and the environment within which they live. Characteristics of personality. The term personality is used in various senses. Generally, it is used to indicate the external outlook of an individual. In philosophy, it means internal quality. But in social psychology, the term personality indicates neither the external or outward pattern nor does it indicate the internal quality. It means an integrated whole. In the modern world and psychology, it has come to indicate the sum total of an individual's characteristics and qualities. Various thinkers, social psychologists, and others have defined personality in various ways. It is a sum of physical, mental, and social qualities in an integrated manner. Thus, personality is the sum of the ideas, attitudes, and values of a person which determine his role in society and form an integral part of his character. Personality is acquired by the individual as a result of his participation in group life. It refers to something much more essential and enduring about a person. Beyond this basic point of agreement, personality has other characteristics or features in common. First, personality is something which is unique in each individual. Second, personality refers particularly to the persistent qualities of an individual. Third, personality represents a dynamic orientation of an organism to the environment. Fourth, personality is greatly influenced by social interactions. Fifth, personality represents a unique organization of persistent dynamic and social predisposition. Sixth, consistency. Seventh, psychological and physiological. Eighth, it impacts behaviors and actions. Ninth, multiple expressions. First, personality is something which is unique in each individual. Personality refers to internal as well as external qualities, some of which are quite general. But it is unique to each individual. It is not possible for a person to reproduce or imitate the qualities of the personality of another person. Second, personality refers particularly to the persistent qualities of an individual. Every individual has a certain feeling as well as other permanent traits and qualities. Personality is mainly composed of the persistent or permanent qualities that exhibit themselves in form of social behavior and attempt to make an adjustment with the environment. Third, personality represents a dynamic orientation of an organism to the environment. Personality represents the process of learning. It takes place in reference to the environment. We do not acquire all the traits of personality at once. Fourth, personality is greatly influenced by social interactions. Personality is not an individual quality. It is a result of social interaction. In other words, it means that when we come in contact with other members of society, we acquire certain qualities while we exhibit certain others. All these come to form personality. Fifth, personality represents a unique organization of persistent dynamic and social predisposition. In personality, various qualities are not put together. They are, in fact, integrated into one. This integration is nothing but a result of organization which may be different from man to man. The behavior of a person directed to one particular individual may differ from the behavior of another person. That is why we put the condition of a suitable environment. This suitability is concerned with individual specificity. 6. Consistency. There is generally a recognizable order and regularity to behaviors. Essentially, people act in the same ways or similar ways in a variety of situations. 7. Psychological and physiological. Personality is a psychological construct, but research suggests that it is also influenced by biological processes and needs. 8. It impacts behaviors and actions. Personality does not just influence how we move and respond in our environment, it also causes us to act in certain ways. 9. Multiple expressions. Personality is displayed in more than just behavior. It can also be seen in our thoughts, feelings, close relationships, and other social interactions. Actually, personality is the unique combination of patterns that influence behavior, thought, motivation, and emotion in a human being. There are many approaches to the modern psychological study of personality, including the psychodynamic, learning, humanistic, biological, trait, and cultural perspectives. It can be described as how a person affects others, how he understands and views himself, and his pattern of inner and outer measurable traits. It encompasses the relatively stable feelings, thoughts, and behavioral patterns a person has. In fact, our personality changes over long periods of time. What is a personality test? A personality test is a tool used to assess human personality. Personality testing and assessment refer to techniques designed to measure the characteristic patterns of traits that people exhibit across various situations. Personality tests can be used to help clarify a clinical diagnosis, guide therapeutic interventions, and help predict how people may respond in different situations. Personality is something that we informally assess and describe every day. When we talk about ourselves and others, we frequently refer to different characteristics of an individual's personality. Psychologists do much the same thing when they assess personality, but on a more systematic and scientific level. Impact of personality tests. Personality tests can be useful for a number of reasons. These tests can help you learn more about yourself and better understand both your strengths and weaknesses. And while all personality tests are different, learning that you might be high on a specific trait can help you gain greater insight into your own behavioral patterns. For example, your results on a personality test might indicate that you rate high on the personality trait of introversion. This result suggests that you have to expend energy in social situations. So you need to find time alone to recharge your energy. Knowing that you have this tendency can help you recognize when you are getting drained from socializing and set aside quiet moments to regain your equilibrium. Tips for taking a personality test. There is no way to prepare for a personality test, but there are some things that you can do to make sure that your results are the best reflection of your personality. First, be honest. Don't try to present an ideal version of yourself. Instead, try to just answer in a way that reflects who you are and how you feel. Second, read the instructions. Your results might not be an accurate reflection of you if you don't understand the guidelines or questions. Third, don't try to beat the test. Avoid trying to guess what you think might be seen as the ideal answer. Just respond honestly. As you start looking at all of the different personality assessments that are available, you will probably notice one thing quite quickly: there are a lot of informal tests out there. Just a simple online search will turn up an enormous range of quizzes and tests designed to tell you something about your personality. How do I create my personality? Your personality is set by no one but you. It encompasses the actions you take and the decisions you make. Either you are a patient person or not, a responsible person or not. Try asking yourself some searching questions to discover just what kind of person you are, such as, if you found an animal hurt and alone, what would you do? Or, if you won the lottery, how would you spend your time and money? You may not be able to change your personality type, but you can change aspects of your personality by taking determined, active steps to become a more balanced person. Taking up a hobby is a great way to become a well-rounded individual. Sports can help you learn teamwork, arts and crafts can make you more patient, volunteering can help you become more caring. Even just reading a book can expand your horizons and push you to be better. How can my personality affect others? Being positive and upbeat can influence everyone around you, and so can negativity. For example, a friendly smile to a stranger can brighten up their day, just as a glare can cause their mood to drop. While you may not be able to help it if you are having a bad day, or if you don't like doing a particular task, changing your attitude changes everything. Complaining and sulking will only make time drag when doing an unpleasant job. Instead, try to shift your thoughts and redirect your mind. Being a more pleasant person helps everyone.